the game, how much he wanted to be a part of something special here with the Nets. How difficult was it learning of LaMarcus and his condition and then the difficult decision he had to make?
Yeah, I mean, it's a sad situation. You know, you always feel for a guy who, you know, has given his life to the game and you know, loves to play and was excited to be here and, you know, and clearly was going to play a role for us. So most importantly, though, he avoided, you know, a terrible situation in a sense. So you feel sad for him that he's not playing, but you feel happy that he's made a sound decision and is comfortable with his decision. And, you know, he can be healthy and have a great life with his family. And that's more important than basketball. So we really just are grateful for his time here, but grateful that he's at home with his family and he can decide what's next for him and live a long life.
For tonight's game, what's the availability looking like? And as we are in this, you know, handful of games left, how will you go about as far as rotation? Does it get a little bit tighter? How will you go about? And I know injuries and circumstance makes it a little bit, you know, different, but how will you go about tightening things up moving forward?
I hate when you ask these questions because our availability changes every day. So I'm very confused and feel like I'm going to say the wrong player is not available tonight. But you know, I think so I'll avoid it by saying the usual, same as last time. No, we got everyone that wasn't injured or out playing tonight. You know, I actually look at it in an ideal world the opposite. You know, I don't want to tighten our rotations. I want to expand it if I can. You know, it's you know, I feel like this is a time of year to try to get to the finish line as whole as possible and make sure we try to limit exposure and whatever that may, you know, entail. You know, it's tough. Like, the schedule's been so demanding. It's been so congested. And, you know, we get to the end here. I don't think necessarily for me it's ideal to tighten the rotation. You know, we know that that's likely to happen in the playoffs. But before then, I think it's important in a sense that we try to navigate the schedule.
Blake Andrews, ESPN.
Hey, Steve. First, in the sense of potentially expanding, oftentimes younger players, when it comes to the playoffs, it's like we're going to shrink down to 7, 8, maybe 9. I'm wondering if the play that you saw at the end of last game, that you've seen over the last several weeks, has given you more confidence in potentially drawing on some of those guys that may not have played in the playoffs before, don't have that experience, but you could feel comfortable with that now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, outside of our you know, kind of most prominent players, you know, there's a confidence to at least situationally play, you know, a great number of our guys. You know, but at the same time, it becomes more difficult in the playoffs. You know, the minutes go up for your main guys. There's only so many minutes to go around typically. So it's not like you almost, you know, the rotations become smaller because there's not as many minutes to go around theoretically, but also each round, you know, if you're fortunate enough to advance, poses different problems, different matchups, and therefore different rotations in different situations. So, you know, a lot of it just depends on where we're at physically when we get there and what the matchups are from round to round and then the last layer would be situationally. You know, is there a situation that demands or asks for one of our guys that typically isn't in the rotation to do a job for us? So a lot of it to be determined, but it's possible.
And then Sean just told us that he felt that James needs he's met all his markers, but needs a few days of ramping up. What have you seen from him? Where does he stand today, being 10 days removed from that 10-day timetable to be reevaluated?
You know, I haven't seen James. So he worked out yesterday. We had an off day. He worked out while we were on the road. So, and I think he was going to work out this evening. So I haven't seen him. So all I can go off is what I've heard. And, you know, I know speaking to James and speaking to people who were on the court with him that he is improving and is in the right track. And hopefully it won't be long before he's back. But there are still like markers. And, you know, there's James who wants to play tonight. And there's performance that wants to lean on science and be safe. And so, you know, they're two disparate kind of opinions. And that's what we're here for, is to try to find the middle ground and make sure that he returns safely, but also as soon as he possibly can.
Thank you.
Brian Lewis, New York Post.
Hey, Steve. I did have two quick ones. I mean, following up, in your understanding, what are the next marker or markers that James would have to hit going forward before he gets out on the court?
I mean, again, I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but I think typically at this stage of the rehab, it's about high intensity play. So can he get out there and play 1-on-1, 3-on-3, 4-on-4, 5-on-5, and can he do it consistently over the 2 or 3 times in a row? Not necessarily back-to-back days, but 2 or 3 bouts of high intensity play in a row and recover and do it again, and prove that he can meet the demands and the intensity and have no ill effects the next day or the next performance. So that's kind of the way it works in a very general way.
And then the second one was just kind of following up on Malika's question. With the younger guys that are in your rotation, I'm not talking about the Landrys, but I'm talking more like Nick and to a lesser extent Alize. How much can they change your opinion from now to the end of the season? I mean, how much will their standing either drop or rise in the next, 16 games?
I mean, it can change for sure. You always leave the possibility for players to perform and to earn opportunities. It really comes down to earn opportunities over who and when. Because we got at least 4 guys that you can mark down 30 plus minutes a night. You got others that are right there beneath them. And so it becomes more, like I said before, situational, but certainly if a guy, kind of, outperforms his expectations and is in a great, run of form, then he could play more minutes than expected or be in a playoff rotation or in a series. He can feature that perhaps you didn't foresee, at this time of the season.
Greg Logan, Newsday.
Steve, the past 2 games without LaMarcus, you started Nick one game and DJ the next. Do you expect it will be matchup based going forward, or do you think you'll get to a set rotation? And second, how is DJ handling things, after that period where he didn't play?
I think it's more matchup based for us. I don't think it makes sense to just pencil something in if the rotations or the matchups aren't, more favorable for us. So I think, we look at our 5s, DJ, Nick, Blake, Jeff, they all bring something different. They all have slightly different profiles. So I think that is to our advantage to mix and match and see who on a night to night or matchup basis, gives us what we think could be a perceived advantage, or, the lesser of 2 evils when you face some superstars. So, I think that's probably the way we approach things continually. And then, DJ's been great. I asked him, to be patient with me because, I didn't, so I didn't say this is it. You're not playing anymore, because I said something always comes up. Now maybe I should stop saying that. But he was a great teammate. He accepted it. We wanted to give him some playing time in different spots anyways, but we also had to see what LaMarcus, where he was at physically, how he fit in our team. Same with Blake, same with Nick, who's only just kind of started his career, so to speak, as well. So, in a sense, he got caught in a position where not only we wanted to take a look at guys, but they were new and we had to see how they fit and what they work. So I asked him to be patient for a week or 2, and then, that has kind of been taking care of itself. Unfortunately, it wasn't, from natural order. It just, obviously we're going to miss LaMarcus and his retirement.
Alex Schiffer, The Athletic.
Hey, Steve, I apologize for also having 2 questions. Just with LaMarcus, what was your understanding or your timeline with his situation? Did you know on Saturday he was playing through something or something was bothering him, or wasn't until Sunday or Monday that you had a better idea of the whole situation?
Yeah, I didn't find out till Sunday. So that's all I knew. And then I knew he was going to get they were going to monitor it, and then he was going to get a second opinion and then the final decision. So, of course we went right on the road after. So I really only spoke to him on the phone when I found out about it.
And then just Tyler Johnson, what's the latest with him?
Yeah, I think he's creeping back. I don't think he's as imminent as James in that respect, but, hopefully it's not, another 2-3 weeks. It's inside of that, but, I don't want to put a timeline on it because I'm not exactly sure how he's responding. He hasn't done high intensity yet. So, But I think that's coming shortly here, so we'll see how it goes. But again, they're back when they're back. It's a matter of how they can respond to high intensity, multiple or consecutive high intensity opportunities, which I don't think either have done yet.
Last question, Christian Winfield, New York Daily News.
Hey, Coach, I've only got one for you. In terms of Kevin, I feel like while he was out, we kind of referred to him as a guy that you could just plug in at any moment and then the rest will take care of itself. But what have you seen from him in terms of getting reacclimated out there on the floor? And do you feel like there's still some room for him to go in terms of getting used to being back out on the floor and getting this cadence down with the rest of the guys?
For sure. He's incredible in that he can come out and score a point a minute as he has in his return. But if you ask Kevin, he's always looking to improve. He's always looking to be more efficient. So, I know he was frustrated with the turnovers early, and I know he's going to acclimate back to getting his defensive legs and rebounding and all the things that he's capable of doing. But the first thing for Kevin, what he could work on while he wasn't playing is his shooting, shot making skills, things that you can somewhat rehearse without, playing. But the rest of it, you have to play the game, the turnovers, the situations, the defense, the rebound. That's stuff that he needs time. So I think that is a truth. While he is still brilliant when he slides back into the team, it is a truth that he still can improve. And I think that Kevin's mentality is that he always wants to improve. So I think his comfort will grow and his kind of feel will grow as he, obviously it's pretty amazing that he can do what he's done returning, but he definitely has an eye to continue to improve the rest of the way.
Thanks for your time, Coach.
You're welcome. Thanks, everybody.